What if the most famous wall collapse in history was not just a miracle told in Scripture, but a moment where science and faith quietly meet on the same ground? Welcome to Scripture, Science, and the Ancient World, the channel where we examine biblical stories through history, science, and spiritual truth. For thousands of years, the story of Jericho has stirred curiosity. The Bible records that the Israelites marched around the city for 7 days. On the seventh day, they circled it 7 times. Priests blew their ram's horn trumpets, the people shouted with a great shout, and the walls fell down flat. Not cracked, not pushed over, not slowly weakened, they fell flat. That phrase has fascinated scholars, archaeologists, and scientists alike, because it describes something very specific. Walls do not normally fall flat unless a particular kind of force acts on them. And that is where the conversation becomes interesting. Jericho sits in the Jordan Rift Valley, one of the most seismically active fault lines in that region of the world. This is a place with a long, well-documented history of earthquakes. Modern geology tells us that when earthquakes occur, the ground does not simply shake up and down. It moves laterally, sideways, with violent jerks that place enormous stress on structures built from stone and mud brick. In such cases, walls do not tip backward. They collapse outward and crumble down into flattened heaps, exactly the way the biblical account describes. Archaeologists who excavated the ancient site of Jericho discovered collapsed fortifications and destruction layers that show evidence of a violent event. Something caused those walls to come down suddenly, and the city was burned and abandoned afterward. We know from science that earthquakes can produce precisely this kind of destruction. No imagination is required for that part. It is observable, measurable, and repeatable in our modern world. But what about the trumpets? What about the shout? There's a popular idea that sound waves may have shattered the walls through a phenomenon called resonance. Resonance is real. When repeated vibrations match the natural frequency of a structure, they can amplify motion. This is why soldiers are told not to march in step across bridges, because rhythmic force can stress a structure. But physics is very clear on this point. The sound energy from human voices or ram's horn trumpets is nowhere near powerful enough to break massive stone or mud brick fortifications. There is no historical record anywhere in the world where sound alone has brought down city walls. Yet vibrations themselves are not meaningless. Thousands of people marching in rhythm create ground tremors. Repeated movement can produce small stresses in soil and structures, especially if those structures are already weakened or on unstable ground. While this vibration would not be the primary cause of collapse, it could add to the stress of a structure that is already on the verge of failure. Think of a leaning tree. One push may do nothing, but repeated timed pushes can make it fall. So here we have an interesting picture. Jericho is built on a fault line. Its walls are vulnerable to lateral ground movement. Archaeology confirms a violent collapse. Science confirms earthquakes can produce this exact pattern of destruction. Resonance and vibration are real, but not strong enough by themselves to destroy walls, only capable of contributing minor stress if the structure is already compromised. And then we return to the biblical narrative. Joshua did not use battering rams. He did not dig tunnels under the walls. There were no siege weapons. Instead, there were very specific divine instructions. March for 7 days. On the 7th day, march 7 times. Blow the trumpets and shout. And at that exact moment, the walls fell down. From a scientific point of view, this looks like a perfectly timed seismic event. From a scriptural point of view, it looks like divine orchestration, and this is where the story becomes powerful, not confusing. Science explains the mechanism. Scripture explains the timing. The trumpets did not break the walls, the shout did not shatter the stones. The earth itself moved, but at the exact moment God ordained. This pattern is not unique to Jericho. Throughout Scripture, natural forces often appear at spiritually significant moments. The Red Sea parts with wind and water. The plagues follow ecological chains. An earthquake occurs at the crucifixion of Jesus. Again and again, we see a God who does not discard natural laws, but works through them with precision. It is as if creation itself responds to divine command. This understanding does not weaken faith, it strengthens it, because it shows that God is not in competition with science. He is the author of the laws science discovers. He does not need to suspend nature to perform His will. He can use the very forces built into the earth, wind, water, ground, vibration, to accomplish what seems impossible to human eyes. And that is where the real message lies for us today. Sometimes we imagine that for God to move in our lives, something must happen that defies every natural explanation. But the story of Jericho suggests something deeper. God can use ordinary forces in extraordinary timing. He can use what is already present in the world to create breakthroughs at the exact moment they are needed. Just because science can describe how something happens does not mean God is absent from why it happens. The walls of Jericho remind us that when everything seems solid, immovable, and permanent, there may be unseen forces already at work beneath the surface, forces we don't control, forces we don't fully understand, forces that at the right moment can change everything. So when you face walls in your own life, obstacles that look too strong, too established, too deeply rooted, remember Jericho. Remember that the same earth that held those walls upright for years responded in a single moment of divine timing. If God can use the ground beneath a city to bring down its defenses, He can use the circumstances around you to bring about change you never thought possible. Because sometimes the miracle is not that natural forces are absent. The miracle is that they move exactly when God says they should. I'll see you in the next episode, where we're diving into another impossible moment from Scripture that science, history, and faith illuminate together. But remember, if one ancient wall can fall at the perfect moment of divine timing, imagine what God can do in your life right now. Trust God and always trust His process. Have a great day ahead.